Hi, Emma. Hi,
Hi,
good to see you.
it's great to see you.
I was just telling whoever's on there about my tea, and I was like,
Well,
beautiful
I'm just
day.
I'm just happy that we made it happen because the last time I
Me
tried to
too.
do a live, oh my gosh,
Why? What happened?
it was a disaster. We couldn't get
Oh,
on. We were
yeah, yeah,
restarting
you
it,
said that.
and
You
then I
didn't know how
couldn't
to.
get off. It was a oh my gosh, it was a thing.
I did a blooper last week. So I was trying to I had a live with one of my friends, and she didn't like. We both were kind of new at it, so she was like, "Oh, can we practice?" And I was like, "Okay." And then so I went on my personal account and I did like a trial live with her, but she couldn't get on because something was wrong with her account, and someone else joined my live, and I didn't know I was live, so I kept blurting it out, and I was like, "Why are you here? You're not supposed to be here. This is a trial session," and I'm trying to like get out at the
Oh
same
my
time.
gosh,
Oh,
technology. Me and technology, we are not friends. So
I'm right
we
there
did
with
it.
you. I'm right there with you. How have
Um,
you been?
I'm good. So why don't you tell us all a bit about yourself and your platform?
Sure. Okay, so I'm the founder of the Stroller Club. Even though the Stroller Club was born a couple of years ago, this is our revamped, tweaked business model, more focused. So we're an online platform that curates high quality content from across the world for prenatal parents. Um, so we believe that prenatal journey is a very important step, not only for the parents, for whom it's probably one of the biggest transformations of their life, but also in terms of the fact that this is the foundation laying of the next generation. Everything that a prenatal mom engages in or does during her 9 months impacts the child in some way or the other. And there is abundant scientific evidence proving how neural connections form in the baby's growing brain in different activities that the mom's engaged in. So we feel like this is really the beginning of where early childhood education begins. So our philosophy of helping prenatal parents is based on three different pillars of mind, body, and soul to be more holistic and well-rounded. Um, each of those, we have different categories that we've identified. So mind is things like music and art, which really stimulate your mind. Body is composed of things like fitness, nutrition, self-care. Fitness can further be subcategorized in Pilates, yoga, dance, Zumba, aerobics, whatever have you may, right? And then soul is meditation. So what we want to do is get some of the best content experts out there to be on our platform so we can have a one-stop shop for prenatal parents and give them a wonderful community where they can talk to all these experts like yourself and get one-on-one advice, also join in classes with you, also form a community with like-minded parents, and yeah, be a happy family together.
I'm very excited about this platform.
Thank
It's going to
you.
be great. Really, really excited about this.
We are too. We're very excited. This is finally coming to life, so we're very, very happy.
Yay.
So yes, this is wonderful. I don't. Do you want to talk a little about yourself, and then we can
Yeah.
get into it?
So my name's Emma Bromley. I'm a Pilates instructor. I specialize in teaching pre and postnatal women. I've been teaching for 10 years. I teach both in person and I also have an online platform. So Sam and I are going to be collaborating. Some of my prenatal Pilates classes are going to be on her platform. So that's what this is all about.
I think this is going to be really fun, Emma. This is like amazing because so Pilates has been one of those things that I've never really dabbled in very much. And hence I've always been fascinated by it. So my personal story with Pilates was I never had exposure to it. So I never could do it pre-pregnancy. But then I got in my first pregnancy, there was this amazing Pilates studio near where I lived. And I kept going and I was like, oh, I really want to do this. I really want to try. But then I was very hesitant because it was like I don't want to try something new during my first pregnancy. You know, the first pregnancy, you're always more on the edge, you're more
Mhm.
anxious, you're more nervous and cautious on every front. So I think that was my first question to you as an expert in that. Is Pilates safe during pregnancy? Because I'm sure a lot of people wonder that.
So my advice is always to check with your doctor first.
Yeah.
From my experience, there are very few things that would prevent a pregnant woman from doing Pilates during pregnancy. However, I would always just play it on the safe side and check with your doctor first. But typically, a lot of the aches and pains that kind of tend to come along with pregnancy, I speak into specifically with my prenatal Pilates. And a lot of Pilates kind of does anyway. So typically Pilates is really great during pregnancy.
Okay, and you can always take it easier, can you? Is it like
Of course,
always,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. And if you've been typically more active, like let's say you've not done Pilates specifically, but if you've done things like yoga or you've been physically active, like going to the gym before pregnancy, then Pilates is okay to kind of try out during pregnancy.
Yeah, so there's Pilates and there's Pilates. So obviously during pregnancy, because I know this was one of your questions when we spoke before about the core, because a lot of people have this question of like, okay, well, you know, should I be doing Pilates during pregnancy, and should I still be training the core, or should I not be training the core? So there's Pilates and there's Pilates, there's the core and there's the core, right? So you obviously don't want to be during pregnancy going and doing, you know, your regular Pilates class that's non-prenatal, because typically Pilates is very core heavy and it's very kind of six pack. You know, there's a lot of forward flexion, which is contraindicated during the second and third trimester. However, you do want to make sure that you aren't just kind of ignoring the core completely, because the core is made up of many different layers. It's comprised of the pelvic floor, the transverse abdominals, which are the abs that wrap around you, which basically kind of support baby during pregnancy. You've got the obliques, which are your side abs. So all of those three are really important to remain strong and flexible during pregnancy. But in the second and third trimester, you don't want to be training the rectus abdominals, which is your six-pack abs, which run down the center, which is typically what you're training when you're doing like crunches and things like that. So that's why with Pilates, we do it slightly differently during pregnancy. And so that's why it's important to seek out a specific prenatal Pilates program during your second and third trimester, and not just continue with, you know, you may have been doing Pilates, you know, for many years, but you now want to just kind of adjust it and go down a slightly different route during pregnancy.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? I think a lot of things we kind of taper during our pregnancy, like even yoga, right? I'm sure a lot of people just make it into prenatal yoga, which is only focusing on certain muscles that you need to strengthen. But I really enjoy how you define the 4 different core muscles, because I think for everyone, like for me, if I talk about core, I only think of the six-pack.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know that it was like 4 different sections of it, and 3 of them you can actually strengthen during prenatal. I think that was fascinating for me to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like another question, I guess I've actually written down my questions, because I was like, I want to make sure I cover all the questions that people usually ask and all the questions that I had during my pregnancy. So one of them was, like you said, usually Pilates should be fine to do during prenatal. What kind of frequency and duration would you recommend? Or would it depend on the trimester?
I usually say as often as you can fit in, because you know, more often than not, it's a scheduling issue more than it is anything else. So if 10 or 15 minutes a day is what you have, do 10 or 15 minutes a day. If you can fit in kind of 3 longer sessions, like 30 to 45 minutes, then do that. But make it realistic for your schedule, because you don't want to be scheduling in, you know, let's say 3 1-hour sessions or whatever, and then that hour can sometimes become very overwhelming, like, oh gosh, I don't have an hour today, so therefore I won't do it at all. You know, if that's you, schedule in 10 to 15 minutes and do it daily.
And it's interesting. I mean, I don't know how other people's pregnancies are, but mine was such that I could never get an hour out, not because I was busy, but I was tired. I was most of the times really tired. And even when I had an hour, I just couldn't make myself physically go through an entire hour of exercise, which is why, and then the default is, oh, I just don't want to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm exactly the same. I'm exactly the same. And I've got a Pilates studio in my backyard. You know, if I tell myself, right, I'm going to do an hour today, more often than not, I'll find something else.
But
if you tell yourself you're going to do half an hour, then it's more likely to happen. So just be realistic with your
Yeah.
goals. But also I think, you know, since we're all working out or many of us are still working out at home, an hour at home is a very long time to kind of keep your concentration. And I think, you know, half an hour or, you know, 20 minutes every day, like do it shorter and more often is more realistic oftentimes.
Consistency is probably key,
exactly.
right? You want your body to be consistently healthy and practicing those muscles.
Yeah.
Right? I think that was what I kind of did wrong in my first pregnancy. I kept wanting to do my regular schedule, and I was like, oh, I could do an hour and I could do an hour. And then every day was different. One day you wake up hormonally like on a roller coaster. The other day you wake up just completely tired. The third day. So
this is the other thing, is that if you're scheduling in 3 longer sessions a week and you wake up on the day when it's your longer session and you don't feel like doing it, you know, then it might be 3 or 4 days that you go without doing any movement at all. So it makes more sense to do a little bit every day, because then on that day when you wake up and you don't feel like it, you've not gone 4 days without any movement.
Yep. That makes so much sense. So, okay, so you would recommend as often as you can, but just keep it consistent.
Little and often, yeah, definitely.
And also something you said last time we were talking about, like listening to your body. So not putting yourself against any sort of bar and saying,
so I think particularly during pregnancy, I think you know, when it comes to movement and working out, listen to your body. Like if something doesn't feel good, don't push through it like you would if you weren't pregnant. Listen to your body, and if your body is telling you this doesn't feel good, don't do it. Skip to the next exercise, or even just don't do it for that day and wait till the next day. Just listen to your body. So yeah, I would say seek out specific prenatal exercise, but also listen to your body.
That's really
Listen to your body and do what feels good.
Makes sense. So we have a question from Your Mind. They are asking, do we need the Pilates ball?
Do we need the Pilates ball? No. You don't need any props. You don't need any props for prenatal Pilates. If you've got extra props, then it's an added bonus. You don't need it. I assume she's possibly talking about the large kind of birthing ball situation, which in the third trimester can actually be really helpful for kind of relaxing the pelvic floor and getting the pelvis kind of mobile and kind of sitting on it and moving your pelvis. It can be really helpful both in the third trimester and also kind of getting ready for birth, or, you know, during those birthing phases, but you definitely don't need it.
So you just need a mat? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. That's actually very helpful, because it's easy for people to join when they're not got the whole shebang at home. Yeah.
So you don't need anything at all. But you know, like I've got some workouts I've got some great like booty band workouts and TheraBand workouts, but I've also got plenty of workouts that don't require any equipment at all. So yeah.
So one of my personal biggest worries was, and always has been, I guess, is doing like any sort of fitness routine via online medium, you know, so like the instructor's not with me, like they can't correct my posture. I can't ask them specific questions like, oh, this exercise doesn't feel right. It puts pressure on my back. It puts pressure on my tummy. Like I'm not liking this. So I'm sure a lot of people feel that concern, especially in pregnancy and prenatal, like something goes wrong, you know, you're kind of alone. You're not the expert. How do you, what's your, like, how do you respond to those kind of concerns?
So first of all, I've been teaching pre and postnatal women a very long time, and so when I make my online videos, I try to as much as possible kind of foresee you know, what the postural faults might be, or you know, what somebody might do that might cause them pain, when in actual fact they should be doing this. So I try to foresee that as much as possible, but aside from that, again, listen to your body. Don't do what doesn't feel good, and then thirdly, reach out to me. Like I love answering questions, so reach out to me, ask me questions, send me an email, reach out to me on, you know, my DMs or whatever, ask me a question. If it's something that I can't answer, then I'll tell you if I think, you know, go see a chiropractor, or go see your doctor, or, you know.
Makes sense. So did you do Pilates all through your pregnancy?
My pregnancy was very, very complicated. So I tried to. I did in the beginning, and then I had to take a break because I had quite a severe quite dangerous condition called vasoprevia, which is a lot more serious than placenta previa. It's basically where the vessels of the placenta form on the outside of the placenta, and if it ruptures, it can be fatal. So, so I was told I wasn't allowed to work out for, I think, about 20 weeks of my pregnancy. And then towards the end, I got clearance again, but then I kind of felt like I was making up for lost time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big pain point of mine, that I kind of had to step back from that.
Wow. And for someone like you
it was very difficult. It was very difficult for me. Yeah.
It's like your passion, right? Like, it's
and I was super excited about doing all this prenatal Pilates.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't know that. But it's a in retrospect, it's probably made, I mean, you a really strong instructor, because you know that these things can happen. And
so I had a very difficult conception. I had a very difficult pregnancy. I had a really difficult birth. I had a really difficult time kind of getting back to feeling like myself again postpartum, and all of that I feel like has just made me really passionate about helping other mums through pregnancy, you know, and through the initial like postpartum phases. So
that's wonderful. It's very like, I mean, it's very heartwarming to hear that you've gone through so much, so you kind of understand all the different pain points out there, which just makes you a much more understanding instructor.
It's kind of like formed my passion, informed and formed my passion.
Makes sense. Oh wow, thank you for sharing that personal story though.
So I've got a few videos which are going to be in your membership. So we've got I think 6 workout videos which I've split into around about 15 to 20 minutes each. Because, you know, little and often. So I've got 2 kind of upper body posture, arms, neck, opening up the upper back videos. I've got 2 lower body, strengthening glutes, strengthening the hips. And then I've got 2 core videos where we're working on the pelvic floor, the transverse abdominals and the obliques as well. And then I've also got my my pelvic floor training, which I think you've done. Which is great both during and after pregnancy, just to really kind of teach the pelvic floor how to behave and how to work in tandem with the diaphragm and the rest of the core. So that's a really great one as well during pregnancy. So if you do nothing else during pregnancy, if you're feeling like, especially I think during like the first trimester, a lot of people feel like really unwell and like moving their body is quite difficult. The pelvic floor training doesn't require actually moving the body. It's more of like a internal kind of isometric movements. So if you can manage nothing else during your pregnancy, do the pelvic floor training.
Okay, and all of this sounds wonderful. So all these different workouts, can they be done throughout, like all 3 trimesters? Or would you recommend?
So the 2 upper body and 2 lower body are all 3 trimesters, and then the core I've split them into. One of them is 1, 2, and 3, all 3 trimesters, and then one of them is just it's more geared towards the 3rd trimester. Sorry, one of them is 1, 2, and 3, and one of them is just 1 and 2.
Okay. Not the 3rd one. Not one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And here's another question I had. So what if you have, like, you know how some pregnancies have special conditions, like let's say you have sciatica pain, or you've got gestational diabetes or high blood pressure, like tongue-tied. Can Pilates help any of these situations, or can it worsen any of these situations?
So typically, especially something like sciatica, where it's kind of muscular and it's to do with the nerves. So my hip workout is great for sciatica. I've made that with sciatica in mind. So yeah, Pilates can definitely help with sciatica if it's done in the right way. Gestational diabetes, I have to confess, I don't know about that. I don't know. I would check with your doctor. And obviously exercise helps with blood pressure. So mostly, for the most part, Pilates is going to be great for your body. Unless, there are some rare conditions, I think, that where your doctor might say don't do it. For example, what I had, where the doctor said no exercise whatsoever. So.
Yeah, makes sense. And then even despite like all your difficult pregnancy, you were able to bounce back postpartum, right? So Pilates helped you get back, right?
It took me a while. It definitely took me a while, and I spent a lot of time. So I had a very severe diastasis, which is a severe separation of the abs post-pregnancy. Now, a lot of times, everybody has it to a certain extent, but a lot of times it will come back together on its own after pregnancy within the first year. Mine, I was still struggling with it by year 2, and I realized that I had been doing a lot of things that were making it worse. So that's really what caused me to go down this kind of rabbit hole of like, I was like, I'm a Pilates instructor. How am I, I should know better. But I think that it's kind of a very specific way that we train the core. And I actually now train everybody postpartum that way because it's so helpful. It's so, no matter whether you have diastasis or not, it's just a really, really great way to rebuild the core postpartum. So you're almost kind of like starting backwards. So during pregnancy, it's like the first thing to drop is training the rectus abdominals, and then as you get towards the very end, you're kind of more or less just training the pelvic floor. And then after birth, you pick up, you kind of go backwards, you work backwards. So the first thing that you start doing, or that you should start doing after you've given birth, and you can do as soon as you're home from the hospital, is your pelvic floor training. So I usually recommend the first 6 weeks, as soon as you're home from the hospital, you start doing that the pelvic floor training for the first 6 weeks, and then you add in the transverse abdominals, the obliques, and then like way down the line you add in the rectus abdominals as well. So what was the question? No,
I was saying you bounced back and you
so no, I didn't bounce back very quickly. But I've now developed a method which I believe is very effective in helping people bounce back, and I include in that it's called the Postpartum Protocol. It's a 12-week postpartum course. It's coming very soon. It's almost finished, but I also go through in that and I talk about all of the things that if you have a diastasis can make it worse. So the things that you want to be avoiding when you're in that healing process post-birth. So because as we get older things don't snap back as quickly as they do when you're in your early 20s. So
no, they don't. We're all living proof, but they don't. But hey, with age comes wisdom, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But this is great, Emma. This is wonderful. Like, I've learned so much about Pilates in the last 2 months, just talking to you, than I have probably in my whole life.
So when can we expect your new platform?
Okay, so it's going to be a soft launch on Mother's Day, which is coming up on Sunday. So we're hoping to at least get the basic part of our website live, so people can look at us, know more about us, meet our experts, join a wait list. So and then the courses are going to be unraveled or unfolded like over the next few weeks. So as we keep getting different experts pouring in with their courses, everything is going to be uploaded. We are live on Instagram, so people can know more about us there. Our handle is the.stroller.club, and we have a lot of information there. But we're very excited about Mother's Day. We just thought Mother's Day was very symbolic for prenatal women and for our company to kind of come together on that day. So that's the soft launches on Sunday.
Yay!
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
I'm very excited about this.
Me too. This was really fun to talk with you. Let me see if there are any other questions. I think Dr. Mind had one. No, I don't have any other questions from anyone.
Well, thank you for having me. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you for taking time out. This was really, really wonderful. I hope it was very helpful to everyone watching and listening to us. And if there's any other questions, please DM me, San at the Stroller Club, or Emma at the Bromley Method. We're here to answer your questions, and we will look forward to seeing everyone on our platform.
So here comes the ultimate test. If I can get off, the live, because last time I couldn't get off and I was left on it alone.
Oh my God. But someone helped you, so that was really nice.
Okay, so I'm going to press this X button at the top.
Yeah.
Wish me luck.
Good luck. Bye. Thanks for coming, Emma. Thanks everyone for listening and for being with us. Stay tuned for more. Bye-bye.